Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, giving you all the State of the Saints podcast halftime report. The New Orleans Saints are all over the Green Bay Packers by a score of 17-0 as of right now. The New Orleans Saints look pretty good today. I mean, defensively, is little to no surprise there. But you got to give credit where credit is due defensively to the secondary, especially Lante Taylor, who is playing out of his mind right now. This was a great opportunity for Lante Taylor, being that Paulson Adebo was out of the game, and him, going back to the outside. He's really showing that the Saints are going to be okay regardless to who is going to play out there. And honestly, he's making a case for that to be a permanent thing. But all in all, I like the way that the defense is looking right now. You can tell Jordan Love is a little bit rattled and confused by some of the things that the defense is throwing at him. I expect for them to possibly come out and probably try to throw the ball a little bit in the second half. But the defense, the New Orleans Saints, they are definitely getting pressure on him. They are confusing him in the secondary. To be quite honest with you, are playing really, really good because they Jordan Love at times has time to throw the ball. So the coverage of the New Orleans Saints DBs and safeties are really good in this game. Offensively, look, Rashid Shaheed is special. I mean, this kid is special, man. I mean, we all knew something was special about him the first time he touched the ball. He scored a freaking touchdown, for God's sakes. But I mean, just looking at this guy, I mean, he can do so many different things. And that's why, I mean, honestly, I didn't stutter when I told people he reminds me of a young Antonio Brown. Like, go back and watch Antonio Brown play when he was like first in the league his first 2 to 3 years. He was a punt returner, just like Rashid Shaheed was. And then when his opportunities presented themselves for Antonio Brown, he knocked them out the park. I mean, he basically looks like a young Antonio Brown. But I mean, Chris Olave, I mean, the dude is out there balling out. I mean, the amazing one-hand snag that he had. I mean, he definitely worked in the offseason on, winning those 50-50 balls. And that was my concern, for him being a number one receiver. But clearly, he's the number one receiver now. I said that for weeks. I said the Saints are looking at him as the number one guy, but that doesn't mean there's not a place for Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas doesn't have a catch right now. It's because of Chris Olave being that number one guy. But Derek Carr in the red zone, I know he threw a touchdown to Jimmy Graham, which finally the New Orleans Saints did. I don't know, maybe we shouted to the rooftops enough, they probably heard us. But that pass that he had, I mean, Mike Thomas was wide open. I mean, one thing about Derek Carr that I noticed, like he eyeballs whoever he's going to throw to in the red zone. Like the pass that almost like would have been deflected or intercepted, but the defensive player of the Green Bay Packers batted it down. I mean, he was staring down Michael Thomas the whole time. And then of course that pass to Chris Olave, I think that he tried to force that. But I think honestly, man, this is probably the best game Derek Carr has played in the Saints uniform. He's making quick decisions. He understands that the offensive line is not really going to give him much time, and he's checking the ball down when need be. He's handing the ball off. He's doing the right things and making the right decisions. I'm not even mad at that pass down the field that he tried to throw to Shaheed. I mean, that just shows you the aggression of the New Orleans Saints. It's very little that you can say about the game today as far as, anything negative in the first half. I mean? You score on special teams. That's, normally there's a high percentage, that you will win a game if you score on special teams. So the fact that the Saints actually did that was a plus. The defense, making plays. The offense is, keeping the defense on the sidelines, matriculating the ball down the field. But they got to come away with touchdowns instead of field goals. I mean, that was a great opportunity for him. I mean, Chris Olave provided a spark right before the half with that one-hand snag. You got to be able to punch that thing in. But all in all, I'm very impressed and about the Saints overall today. I think this is Derek Carr. Honestly, I think this is Derek Carr's best game as a New Orleans Saints quarterback. But let me read a few of your stats, and then I'll take a few questions before we get back into the game. Derek Carr was 11 of 16, 96 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked twice in the first half. Kendre Miller, 7 carries for 24 yards, running very hard and making smart decisions. Him and Tony Jones, who has 4 carries for 21 yards. Taysom Hill contributing 2 carries for 4. Chris Olave, 4 catches for 51 yards. Tony Jones Jr., 4 catches for 21. Taysom Hill, 1 catch for 9. Jimmy Graham, 1 catch for 8 yards, which was a touchdown. Then you have Juwan Johnson with 1 catch for 7 yards. As far as the defense, Marshawn Lattimore has 4 tackles on the day. Pete Warner has 4 tackles. Demario Davis, who has been extremely disruptive, he seems like he always in the backfield. He has 3. He has 3 tackles in the game. You got Carl Granderson out there with 3. Alontae Taylor has 2 tackles, 2 solo, 1 sack, 3 pass deflections. I mean, that's some defensive player of the week type stuff if you get a pick. And then you got some of your young guys out there. Isaac Yadam, he has 2 tackles. The Honey Badger probably going to be kicking himself after you watch the film. He had 2 back-to-back plays where he could have made a difference. It was that one play on the swing pass that Jordan Love, handed off to the running back. He could have had a shoestring tackle in the backfield. The guy breaks it. And then, of course, Jordan Love tried to throw the ball downfield, and Tyrann Mathieu jumps in front of it. Could have been an interception right there. I'm pretty sure he's going to look back and be like, man, I could have made some plays there. And then you have a bunch of guys with 1 tackle. So right now the Saints are playing some really good football defensively. They are legit. You play defense like this, I don't care what type of offense you have or what type of problems your offense have, you're going to win some football games. And these guys are playing incredible. And right now, you have to say that this isn't an outlier. Like, this team defensively is something special. And if these guys can stay healthy and that offense can get on the same page, it's going to be tough beating the New Orleans Saints. Like, seriously, it's going to be tough beating these guys because they can make a quarterback that's capable of throwing for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns look like they just one of the most mediocre, bottom of the barrel quarterbacks in the league. Like, it's amazing what they're doing right now. You would think that, a quarterback would be able to like sling the ball in modern day NFL to have like 300 yards. The fact that they're actually playing defense like this is nothing short of amazing. Let me read some of your comments. It says the Falcons are struggling today. Yeah, it's back to reality for them. It's been a couple of weeks where they felt like, they were, world beaters and all that kind of stuff. And I don't blame them. I mean, not much success was coming, especially early in the season. But I think, there's a pecking order to this. And, and when you're playing against teams that are, really good, you find out how good you really are. And everybody's saying it was going to be close, shaking my head. Saints are dominating. Yeah, I was one of those people. I thought it was going to be close. I mean, but this is kind of shocking. Like, based on who the coach is, his offensive mind, their ability to be able to make plays in the running and passing game. So this is a little bit of a shock. Like, the Green Bay Packers are capable of putting up points. And even though, the Saints are up 17-0, this game isn't over. So you still got to go out there and you got to play. So there's some opportunities for this game to make it interesting. The Saints cannot, rest on their laurels here. They got to make sure that they go out there and they perform. Let me see. These running backs are going to take so much pressure off AK when he comes back next week. Yeah, I mean, look, if you got a good 1-2 punch, in this case, a 1-2-3 punch, I think you'll be okay. And I think the Saints need to like start running the ball. I mean, these offensive linemen are not good. Like, honestly, I feel like if I am going to say something negative, I think the Saints have the worst offensive line in football right now, especially when it comes to pass protecting. So I think you have to focus on the things that make them good, and that's the running game. Like, when you're doing them toss routes and you try to run the ball up the middle and stuff like that, they do a really good job. But when it comes to pass protecting, they're not very good. One of the worst in the league, if not the worst in the league as of right now. I'm not saying it's always going to be like this, but right now, they're one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Seriously. Alontae is really good, but he has to work on his tackling for real. I think he does a really good job at tackling. I mean, he's a small guy, you know what I'm saying? So, you look at, him trying to tackle, Jordan Love or something like that. Jordan Love, like 230, 240 or something like that. 6'5", maybe. Like, and this dude, like Lante Taylor, maybe like 6'1", 190, soaking wet. So I mean, of course, guys are going to break some tackles, but he's doing a really good job today. I mean, it's hard to say, anything about Lante Taylor negative. I mean, he's all over the field. Keep going with the tight ends in this game. Let's see. Get Thomas active and start to get the tight ends more involved. I think like once they make the halftime adjustments and they roll coverage, Chris Olave's way, I think you'll start seeing opportunities for Michael Thomas. Should have had a touchdown in my opinion, but hey, let's see. Taylor Dogtail Green Bay, their scouting report was wrong. Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, if you had a choice of challenging Marshawn Lattimore or Lante Taylor, who you gonna challenge? You're going to challenge Lante Taylor. So I don't think anything's wrong with the scouting report. I think it's a smart scouting report. But it's just the fact that Lante Taylor is taking advantage of those opportunities that presented themselves, and he's making plays. Let's see. They've been better at running second quarter. Yeah. I mean, I think that the running game is a plus. But as we can see, the game is about to be underway, the second half. So we'll be back for the post-game show for the State of the Saints podcast right after the game is over. Enjoy the second half. Until next time, all I got to say is, who dat?